So I opened up my previous video with Shitting on Internet Girl by Cat's Eye. I disliked this song initially when it came out because, just in general, referencing the internet always kind of makes me side-eye the media that I consume. I don't inherently trust internet references in media. I think it can be like a cheap way to like attempt to relate to kids without actually relating to kids, and it kind of comes off as awkward. It's part of the reason why I harped on it so much in the Moon Girl video. Despite this, the song has, unfortunately, begun to grow on me. Everything outside of the chorus is pretty catchy, I fear. However, I refuse to ever allow myself to fully like the song because, first of all, the baby voice in the studio version is very icky to me, especially considering that it's immediately followed by a euphemism for eating dick. Like, that is so gross. I cannot get on board with that. Benefit of the doubt, maybe the producers genuinely did not think that through or something. I'm not accusing anyone of anything, but it's just very uncomfortable. But yeah, it was so much better in the live version for this exact reason. Also, it was at least partially made with AI, and I don't fuck with that either. Hi, Bex Geffen, I swear to God you will pay for your crimes. So all that said, I know all the lyrics, and the choreography is stuck in my head.
Click it, ooh, you hate it, jealousy so overrated.
So if I've consumed this song enough times to memorize the lyrics and the dance, logically that means that it has some value to me, you know what I mean? This is kind of how I feel about the song Jack's Toy as well. Like, I thought it was stupid when it first came out, but after seeing everybody and their mother do the little animation challenge that Jake Neutron was hosting, I eventually caved in. Like, there are parts of it that have yet to grow on me, but the chorus is pretty fire. I did not realize that good visuals could really carry a song for me. I just learned that about myself today. I kind of feel the same way about the Jack song, you know, the fuck-ass one with Thomas, but that one is actually kind of unironically really good. Like, I don't know. I don't even think I ever disliked it. But anyway, all that to say, if I eventually end up liking something that I previously thought was bad, and I have my reasons for thinking it's bad, does that piece of media still suck? I asked this question to my IG followers a few weeks ago, and 33% of them said yes, and 17% said no. Everyone else seems to think that there's a lot more to it than that, and that's kind of where I'm leaning. A lot of times when I dislike something that a lot of other people like, I try to see what the value in this thing might be. I've especially begun to do this more as, you know, AI generated content has become more and more common. Because, you know, all human-made art has value to someone, right? The worst human-made song on the planet is still in somebody's playlist, unironically. You know what I mean? So let's do another example. I enjoy watching Henry Danger. I used to really dislike Henry Danger, but it was mostly just because everyone around me disliked Henry Danger. But, you know, my siblings liked it, so they put it on a lot, and, you know, it was always advertised as, like, the #1 kids cartoon, or not, it wasn't a cartoon. It was always advertised as the #1 kids show at the time, and it was made by Dan Schneider, and Dan Schneider made iCarly, a show that I used to really like, and he made Victorious, a show that I currently like. Heavy asterisk on like there, but yeah, I was like, okay, maybe this show has value. So I watched it and I was like, okay, it's pretty fun. So you will catch me watching it when I come home from the holidays. I tend to project my own personal headcanons onto the characters, to make the show more enjoyable to watch, which is kind of how it is with most Dan Schneider shows. Like, the shows work better if you just take the basic character archetypes and, you know, almost make your own OCs from there. But one of my favorite headcanons is that Jasper is in love with Henry. While this interpretation is technically supported by the text, it's often played up for laughs because the somebody on the production team thinks that gay people make for a hilarious punchline. So whenever Jasper does something undeniably gay towards Henry, it's immediately followed by a laugh track. But it's like, if I'm by myself watching Henry Danger, and I rarely ever post that I watch Henry Danger, so practically nobody knows that I'm consuming it, and I'm enjoying the characters and their dynamics and my own headcanons, in that moment in time, is Henry Danger a bad show? Well, yes. Henry Danger has fetish content. That's gross, especially when minors are involved. Also, the show is racist. A little bit less so than other Dan Schneider shows, but it's still there. Ray starts to act like a real man-child in the later seasons, and it is genuinely the most grating thing I've ever had to watch. Like, I hate what they did with Ray's character in the later seasons. There was absolutely no need for that. The story structure is genuinely like, some of those episodes, they have the most, like, strange resolutions to the conflicts that I'm just like, y'all were just playing in that writer's room. Y'all clocked in, messed around, and then clocked out. Also, I lied. I never watch Henry Danger alone. I'm always watching it with my siblings, because why on earth would I spend my precious alone time watching this crap? So I just listed a bunch of objectively bad qualities that the show has that makes it sucky, and those qualities don't go away just because nobody's around to bounce an opinion off of. Okay, let's take the movie Shark Tale. terribly rated movie. Most people agree on this. Do I hate it? No. Do I think it's a bad film? Yeah, but not really as much as other people. It's like every critique that everyone has ever had about this movie is in fact present. But I don't know, the problems in Shark Tale simply do not bother me, and I think it's because everyone else has beat this movie into the ground to the point where watching the movie feels like satire, despite the fact that the movie was never intended to be satire. Do you know what I mean? This is also kind of why I don't hate Wreck-It Ralph 2. Like, I have seen everyone and their mother shit on Wreck-It Ralph 2, right? So then I go to watch Wreck-It Ralph 2, and I'm like, yup, those bad things sure are there. And mind you, I'm a huge fan of Wreck-It Ralph 1. That's like almost a perfect movie. I have literally no critiques about Wreck-It Ralph 1, you know? Any problem I have with Wreck-It Ralph 1 is like a minor nitpick, right? And I don't really hate Wreck-It Ralph 2. I don't know. It just, when you hear so many people shit on a thing, it kind of feels hard to form your own opinion on that thing and really like be emotionally invested in it. I don't know if that's just me though. The same principle kind of applies in the opposite direction too. Like if I watch a movie and I think that it's really good upon first viewing, but then after watching it a second time, all these flaws are jumping out at me and I'm like, wait, those weren't there before, were they? In this situation, it's probably easier to say, yeah, it's probably a shitty movie, but like, what about my first viewing? Are we just going to ignore that? This is kind of how I feel about the Barbie movie, because it's like, I really did like that movie the first time I watched it, but I am almost 100% sure that if I were to watch it again, I wouldn't like it as much. Matter of fact, as soon as I left the theater, I knew that I was not going to enjoy that movie if I ever watched it a second time. You know, the most I could do is clips of the best parts, right? So it's like, if I never watch the movie again to notice the flaws, then the flaws aren't there. Do you know what I mean? People have come out and expressed where they feel like this movie falls short as a piece of feminist media, but like, I have not rewatched it myself to form my own opinion. So as far as I'm concerned, it's still a good movie. My general take on that movie is that it made a lot of women realize their own self-worth as women, so regardless of its shortcomings that, again, I'm unaware of because I haven't rewatched it, I think it holds a lot of value that we shouldn't ignore. I talk about all these things not because I don't understand how subjectivity works, but because I think that this is something worth talking about amidst the media literacy crisis. It feels really hard to like change your mind on something once you've made your opinion known, and our opinions are so easily influenced by those around us, so I thought this was something worth discussing. It took me like 40 days and 40 nights to make this video, and I don't know why. I was supposed to whip it up really quickly during the winter break, and then winter break came and left. And now I'm back at school. I'm going to be making a couple of videos talking about being a STEM major in my senior year because why not? Why wouldn't I do that? Also, my Instagram followers said that they wouldn't mind seeing my intellectual pursuits, and I was like, you guys. So yeah, I'll be doing that. I mean, I was going to do it either way, but yeah. That is currently in production. That's up next. Please go to my main channel and watch my videos there because I have something special planned for 2K, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.